Hey Econ Kids, this is the last module of macro. So last one you'll be doing before the test. This is just basically saying, hey, can you put it all together? What does macro entail if there's going to be a test, right? So as you look at this model, this is kind of like your plan for some sort of a FRQ, if you will. What's going to happen? They're always going to give you some sort of a starting point. Always the case, right? Like this country is in long run, or this country is in some sort of a recession. This country has an inflationary gap, right? Then something is going to occur. A pivotal event of some kind of change happens, right? Then they're going to ask you to maybe graph or do something with that. Then after that, they're going to say, oh, now once this happens, what's the initial effect? What's going to happen first? And then maybe they'll ask you to shift the line, do something like that. And then it'll end with some sort of secondary long run effect. How is this going to affect this? What'll happen here? And walk you through some answers. So the starting point a lot of times is your ADAS model. It'll say, hey, you're either in long run equilibrium, a recessionary gap, an inflationary gap, something like that. A pivotal event. Something is going to happen in this pivotal event. It's going to be if you're in the long run already, it might be like, oh, a recession is going to happen. Oh, or inflation happens. There might be some kind of expectation change. Something's going to occur, or they think something's going to occur. A wealth change has happened. Some sort of supply shock, has happened. Something along the lines of maybe some good became too expensive, like gas or oil or steel, something like that. Heck, maybe shipping becomes a problem, just getting stuff over here. There is this table in 45.1 in your textbook where it does talk about like these different things: aggregate demand and supply. Then it talks about loanable funds markets, money markets, foreign exchange markets. What's going to happen? So that's not a bad one to have with you as you're like kind of getting ready for this testing time. The initial effect on the event. So what's going to occur? Are we having some sort of recessionary gap, inflationary gap? How can you measure that? And then some secondary effects that you might have. Changes in price level, interest rate change, what happens. And then now, after doing the last unit of section 8 there, you can start looking at, well, what happens to international capital flows? Are you going to see people who are they, because of what happened, right? Are you going to see more people demanding US dollars? Are you going to see more people, or are you going to see people in the United States demanding a foreign currency? Are more people going to have their money coming in? More people going to have their money leaving? Like, what's going to happen? How is that going to affect your net exports? Or what's going to happen to investment in the country? So that's kind of the secondary effect piece. And then, of course, there's going to be some sort of a long run effect. What happens in the long run? Does anything happen? Do we just go back to normal? Or is there going to be like some sort of capital formation causing increased economic growth? Sometimes the last piece to some sort of FRQ is going to be, hey, there was new investment, there was capital formation, the businesses decided to do this. And then all of a sudden, if there's more productivity, you might actually move your long run aggregate supply curve. Who knows? I would say that is kind of like your last resort. A lot of times the long run effect is it's going to go back to normal, or there might be, because of government spending, there might be some crowding out, or there might be a negative could be the country has to go into deficit spending to be able to buy their way out of a recession or something like that. There are long run effects that most of the time are going to go back to our long run aggregate supply curve, but sometimes they're going to ask you something, or something's going to happen where it would actually increase your long run aggregate supply overall. Now, it probably wouldn't have you graph that at all. It would just say, what could happen. And again, it has to be something major. It has to be something where you are seeing it's got to be business orientated, that makes them more productive, more investment has happened, so that, because you think about that long run aggregate supply curve, when you really think about it, to try to get this line here to move over, You're saying that your potential output is actually going to be more. Like, how does that happen? How do you get more of literally everything? It has to be something that's going to be a major effect on the economy, and it's not just going to last a little bit. It's going to last forever. You will always be able to achieve more than you could before. So be careful on moving that LRAS. It is possible to do so. Questions sometimes ask for it, but almost always it's like last resort kind of stuff. All right, well, that was all of economics. Hope you enjoyed it. See you next time.